Okay, today me and Giovanni are going to do the affirmative, and we'll be debating whether, or not whether, the U.S. should convert to an all-electric transportation system. And so we'll start off with our significance claims, which, number one, the use of electricity would cause the U.S. to be more efficient, or a more efficient country as a whole. The second one, it would decrease the country's dependency on oil. And number three, electricity will cost less than oil in the future. So back to the first one, the use of electricity would cause the U.S. to be a more efficient country as a whole. Evidence for this one, I have the Nissan Leaf, which is a new electric car which has zero emissions. It can go 90 miles an hour, it can hold 5 passengers, and it can go 100 miles on a single charge. Now the advantages over that, I mean obviously to a gas-powered car, is that it uses no gas. It's completely efficient. For my second piece of evidence, when you compare battery to gasoline power, electricity wins hands down. A 2007 study by a nonprofit research organization calculated that powering a plug-in electric vehicle would cost the equivalent of roughly 75 cents per gallon of gas, a price not seen at the pump for 30 years. So basically, the amount of energy it takes to charge an electric battery in a car gives you enough energy, or gives you the same energy as gas, but only at 75 cents per gallon. And that's from the Scientific American. This next one's also from the Scientific American, and it's, on the other hand, in some areas where wind or hydropower is wasted at night, just when the electric vehicles would be charging, utility might drop to the kilowatt hour cost of 2 to 3 cents, making the charging much less costly. And basically by this they mean, say you live in Las Vegas and there's the Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam never stops having water flow through it, so there's always energy being made. So when everybody's lights are off at night, that energy is just wasted, it just goes to the circuit. So if everybody's charging their cars at night, it'd be like everybody going to the gas station at night to fill up their car. Now, of course, you don't do that now, but it's easy with the electric car because you just plug it in. It does it itself. Now, for my second supporting point, it would decrease the country's dependency on oil. I mean, this is kind of obvious. I mean, if you don't use gas anymore for all your vehicles, trains, buses, cars, that's going to take away a lot. And I actually have a piece of evidence that says that basically 71% of the oil that the U.S. consumes is due to transportation. So if you got rid of that 71%, then you would, that 71% that is either free and available for the rest of the country to use or other countries, or that 71% that we don't have to buy from other countries. And that comes from the Energy Information Administration, which is a government administration. For my third point, electricity will cost less than oil in the future. This is kind of obvious too. You can look at the stock market, and the stock market actually shows that right now it's at $74 a gallon for crude oil. And it's been in the past, it's gone from $44 at the beginning of this year to $85, and now it's back down to $74. So this basically proves that it can vary a lot, and it's been going up ever since oil was found. The inherency claims I have are: we are dependent on oil. Oil is a fossil fuel and is doomed to run out, and oil will continue to climb in price. So for the first one, the evidence to that we are dependent on oil is our total consumption of crude oil in one day is 19,498,000 barrels of oil. Now, each barrel of oil holds 42 gallons. So if you do the math, that's 819 million gallons of oil a day that the U.S. uses. And like I already said earlier, that 71% of that is due to transportation. So if you got rid of that 71%, then we wouldn't be dependent on oil anymore, but for now we are. Now, for my second point, oil is a fossil fuel and it's doomed to run out. That's common knowledge, and there's only so many oil wells to find, there's only so many oil wells to drill. So once they're all out, what are we going to do then? And for my third point on inherency claims, oil will continue to climb in price. And like I said before, right now you can look at the stock market and it's not going to come down. As the more rare something becomes, the more it costs. You know, diamonds are rare, they cost a lot of money. Once oil is really rare, it's going to cost a lot of money. For solvency claims, our first is to convert all trains to the maglev magnet train or an increase, or the maglev magnet train or other electric trains, like the ones that have cables above them. And this would increase transportation times for goods and people across the entire country. And evidence for this is if you look at statistics for the maglev train, its top speed is 300 miles an hour, which can't be topped by any other train. And it has no moving parts. So that means it has very low maintenance. The only thing that has to be maintained is the track, and it's mainly just cleaning it because it gets dirty from rainfall and things like that. And this is all coming from okeating.com. An example of a train with the cables above it is the TGV, which runs through France, and it can go 300 kilometers per hour, which is I think is like 210 miles an hour. I wasn't able to find it in miles per hour, but basically that train, if they were to use that, it's much cheaper than the maglev, and it can use the same infrastructure we have now. It just needs the cables above it, so it would be able to run on steel track and everything. Now, for my second solvency claim, converting our transportation system would get rid of our addiction for oil, and once again, that's obvious because of 71% dependency. That our oil that we get is 71% of transportation. Our plan of action to solve this problem is basically to completely convert all government vehicles to electricity. This would include cost buses and trains, both passenger and for good transports. This conversion would serve as an example for the public, but our plan of action does not require the general public to convert, but we would encourage it by tax deductibles and with incentives like the carpool lane, how you can take a hybrid into the carpool lane, and other future things. Since the new electric cars require charging stations, we will integrate them into the present-day gas stations, and you can also put them into your home if you. Yeah, the ones at the gas station would be if you want to take a long trip. That way you can stop and charge your car. But everybody would have to have one at home, obviously. But this would be easily achievable since electric cars would most likely in the future, be able to plug directly into your wall socket, use a normal outlet. But for the time being, they have to use a special charging station, which the company, for example, the Nissan Leaf, they come and they actually install it. It's part of the cost of the car. So they send out somebody to install the charging station into your garage. And I just saw a video. It's only about that big with the cable and everything. So it's really small. But other than that, that's our plan of action. Thank you.